Jaqui, welcome to the show. What do you think?
I'm laughing at the Kiwi as the latest 501. I think that's brilliant. Look, when I first got here, it's kind of like everything kills you here. Sharks, spiders, birds, people, all sorts. Jellyfish, so sometimes you want to go for a swim and you can't because there's blue bottles everywhere. I mean, there's things that kill you everywhere.
Yeah, no, and I guess that's the reason why the Kiwi survived in New Zealand and went extinct in Australia. Yeah, because there was so much around that was going to kill it. Although, apparently our national bird should be the kakapo. Apparently it's been here longer than the Kiwi. Yeah, it's been here longer than the Kiwi. And hasn't that got a breeding problem as well? I'm pretty sure it has.
Oh, yeah, although, yes, and they've kind of hived off parts of the South Island and various places to kind of bring it back from extinction, and the trees that it eats are falling, because of climate change, they're not doing what they meant to do.
And apparently it's incredibly stupid. It's probably the stupidest parrot in the world. It's just thick as.
There you go. Michael, everything's going extinct in New Zealand. We're exporting our riffraff and... you're getting our best and brightest. Yeah, getting your best and brightest, and if we don't like you, we'll try and find a way to kill you.
Yeah, no. And in fact, I was just reading again in the Times an article about how many New Zealanders are heading across. And in fact, it's made international news now that the Times is reporting on the large number of New Zealanders who end up in Australia, and very much the best and brightest as well. Do you know, though, Jack, I asked the question, we actually don't know who's leaving. So
really?
Yeah. No, there is no research done on the kind of New Zealanders who are leaving. We don't know their ethnicity. We don't know their education. We don't know their age.
Right.
Isn't that extraordinary?
It is. I guess they don't have to fill that out on their exit form.
No, they don't have an exit form going to Australia anymore, you see. So none of that information is there.
Maybe the Australians will create a special entry form.
for New Zealanders. Well, they could well do.
Yeah.
Hey,
anyway.
Yeah, carry on.
I was going to say, if they had a kind of... We probably have that information because they're possibly coming here on special visas, so the Australian government would know.
Hey, just on that, I see you've got another scrap over there, sort of a mini scrap, but it's, I suppose, part of the culture wars. And this is about, and you've got a census. At least you'll do the census, probably, one would assume. We've managed to stuff up both of our last two here in this country. God, and they No.
We had a stuff up here too.
Did you
join that club? Yep.
Is that because you went online and did it all online
we went
again?
Online.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the system couldn't handle it, and people couldn't fill it out, and it was big drama.
Oh, yep. Yeah. So same incompetence here, but nevertheless, there's a question. You've got a new one coming up. Is that right? A new census?
Oh, we have in 2026.
Yeah.
But who knows what the questions are going to be, because there's been a bit of a furore about adding a new question.
Explain that to me. Explain that.
So the Albanese government, as part of their election promise, promised to add in a question in relation to LGBTQI plus people in the census. Because they want to be recognised and feel that they should be counted, so that if there's, governments making policy, we know how many of them, who identify like that. So apparently the ABS, Australian Bureau of Statistics, came up with a couple of sample questions that, according to the newspapers, Anthony Albanese thought were completely, just were horrible. Had a big blow up in caucus, all of course which was leaked. So they came out and said, not Albo, but some Minister Andrew Lee came out and said, well, we're not going to have a question about LGBTQI plus in the 2026 census. And of course, all hell was let loose by that community. Said, how dare you do that? We want to be counted. And within 24 hours, the Labor Party came back and said, yeah, look, we will do it. It's just that the ones that were presented by the ABS were shit.
Right.
So we still don't know what that particular question shall be. But apparently it now will be.
So just let me get this right. Census. You're putting a question in the Australian census that will ask if you're a lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, or something along those lines. Is that right?
Or
all of these things.
All of those, the whole alphabet. Or if you don't identify as anything, I guess presumably even that includes cats.
So that would mean that I'd immediately put down, if I was married, I'm asexual. Is that right?
No, you could
as in
be
I'm not having any
married
sex at all with anybody. That's why we've been,
I don't think it's the question's about whether you're having sex or not, Michael, although that might be quite an interesting one to put in the census.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because if I'm being asked my sexuality or my gender or whatever it is, sexuality, I guess, sexual preference, if I'm being asked that question, why? Why do you need to know how many lesbian, gay people, transsexuals, the Q, God knows what the Q stands for. Is there a reason?
Queer. Because the census forms the basis of government program support, allocation of government funding, but like knowing how many children you have, So
did lesbians get special funding in Australia?
Well, they may well do. I don't know. They may well do, but they certainly won't get it if they're not counted. I mean, that's their thinking, So support services, medical services, how can
Are there lesbian
allocate...
hospitals?
No, but there might be.
Oh, God. Lesbian schools.
We've got all...
They already run the cricket
here.
teams, so for God's sake, do they want the hospitals and the schools as well?
Oh, they're trying to get into the sporting teams, aren't they,
They run sports. Oh, come on. I mean, I'm not being silly here. I mean, lesbian women are grossly overrepresented at the higher echelons of sport in almost every country. But I would have thought, well, there you go. All right, so you're going to answer. So eventually you're going to have that question asked. I think when we asked that question over here, you know how you and I grew up, Jack, and we always were told 1 in 10 of us is gay or lesbian. And then when the stats came out, it was like 1 in 33, not 1 in 10. So the stats, in actual fact, far from confirming that, in actual fact said, well, actually the number of lesbian and gay people is really quite small as a proportion of the population.
And if we had a question in the census, we'd find that out.
Oh, well, there you go. Listen, the other thing that struck me about the that particular issue was that the Prime Minister apparently got very upset about it. There were leaks from his own caucus and cabinet. What does that suggest to you?
That I think that the Labor parties, there are various people who aren't necessarily that happy with the way things are travelling, and they want to run their own agenda.
That's what I'd be thinking. Yes.
Yeah, well, Bill Shorten's just resigned, so that's the third Labor minister, in as many months to pull up stumps.
And why has he resigned? He's the former Labor leader, isn't he, Shorten?
A former Labor leader. For a moment, he also set up what we have here called the NDIS, which is the National Disability Insurance Service, which is the budget's blown out or get out. So, look, his public statement is he's 57, he thinks he has one career left in him and he wants to go and become, and it turns out that he's going to be the Vice-Chancellor of University of Canberra. I don't know what this thing is in Australia at the moment, but former pollies are popping up as vice chancellors of the universities.
Yeah, same
And
here.
it's a
Same
really
here.